Muy buenas a todos, señores, señoritas, animales y lo que haya por ahí. Aquí estamos en otro vídeo de Kingdoms of Amalur Reconing. Y bueno, tenemos ya la posibilidad de hablar con el Primos, un super jefe de la vida, el dios del universo. Bueno, no sé, pero alguien importante en los dientes de Naros. A ver, bien. Salmos 3, inspeccionar. Muy bien, muy bonito, por si alguien lo quiere leer. Y aquí Salmos 1. Bueno, primero os enseño el 3 y luego el 1 y el 2. ¿Por qué? Porque puedo. Porque me da la gana. Cómo mola este lugar. Es que es increíble el nivel de detalle, el diseño, todo. De verdad que lo es. Vale, ahí está. Ahí está.
And though the path be fraught with tribulation, know that it leads to the land of our greatness, and that we walk it with you.
Este es el primo.
Words the gods spoke to the progenitor of my race when they sought to guide us from our base origins into a fruition of. But words have been in my heart every day of my reign. But now they are embodied. Welcome, beckoned. At last, this city will be complete.
Llamado.
The messenger of the gods. One summoned to bring the word of faith back to our people. I always assumed that the beckoned would be one of my own kind, but you bear the cipher. Your role cannot be made more clear.
Anokato.
I am the primos of the Colossi people. As I lead them in politics, I lead them in prayer.
Vale. Cifra.
Many are the artifacts strewn throughout this world, but the cipher of Athene, I have seen its outline traced in tomes and scrolls, but never in person. Bearing it makes you an embodiment of her power, beckoned. She sees and hears through you.
Dientes de Naro.
This land is the crucible by which my people might be forged to their new destiny. Vicious and inhospitable, it rebukes my people's every step.
Vale,
the goddess has shepherded my people for generations. She was responsible for the growth of my people. Somehow, we were found unworthy of her. I have prayed to learn why, but her anger must be far too great.
Bueno,
this is greater than any city or any temple that you will find in this world. Of that I assure you. But the city, though magnificent, is only half completed.
A ver, Colossi.
Colossi are the children of the Titans. We are the inheritors of their will, and we are the ones that will shepherd this world into a new age.
Bueno, si tú lo dices, la ciudad está incompleta,
because we
eso.
are all of us, my whole people, incomplete. Because we are not worthy enough, not deserving enough to see such wonders of the god. And I thought that failure was a finality. I have prayed to the gods in seclusion in hopes of an answer, but they were as quiet as the silent choir. Now the beckoned is come. With you, the gods can bear witness to us atoning for our inadequacies. We must start at once, beginning with the wreath of absolution.
¿Qué es una corona de absolución?
Something no primos would ever wish to wear. They are only made in times of great need, and we must prove to the gods our devotion.
¿Qué tengo que
The wreath
hacer?
of absolution can only be created from the hands guided by Athene. I must ask you to assemble it. First, a golden prayer circlet is needed to serve as its base. The art of crafting one is all but lost to us, but I require one all the same. The last Primos to wear a wreath of absolution, Arches, is buried with one such circlet. Secandra led you to me, did she not? Then she will lead you to the circlet.
De acuerdo,
He
Arches.
led my people into the times that you see today. The gods did not favor his reign, clearly.
Coro
The
silencioso.
silent choir is a group of our most faithful followers, and serve me as I serve the gods. So deep is their faith that they never speak upon entering service.
Muy bien, ¿dónde está la
It
tía de
lies
Arches?
in his crypt, in the darkest pits beneath the city.
Interesante,
I
suena bien.
understand there might be trepidations in taking such an artifact from my predecessor's crypt, but I assure you, it is ordained. The times we have arrived at are desperate, and when the heavens show their intent, one cannot stand too much on ceremony.
Pues a por todas, a por esa tiara dorada. A ver, difícil. Vamos a ver. Mierda. Bien. Vale, esto se considera robar. No, es que está en rojo, pero luego no sale ningún porcentaje. Bueno, lo vamos a dejar ahí, por si acaso. No quiero disgustos. Liturgia de la palabra. Bueno, por si alguien lo quiere leer. Nunca se sabe. Pues ya está, estupendo. Sí, señor, joder. Bueno, ha sido un placer. Primos. Anecatos, o... bueno, vamos a llamarle Akinator.
You return?
Uy,
Well, the Primos has not graced the ears of his subjects in ages. What has he said to you?
necesito la tiara de Arques.
The circlet of Arches. And Anakatos expects me to lead you to it? Has his reclusion left him senseless? Has he forgotten his history as well as his people? Very well. As I cannot refuse the Primos, I will meet you in the crypts, in the undersewers of the city. Let us deal with this as quickly as possible.
Sí, vale, Anocatos.
You are the first to hear his voice in some time. I almost thought he would join his acolytes in their silent pact, but his prolonged absence from his people has taken its toll on his judgment. Does the crypt of Arches have no sanctity to him?
Arques.
I have had chances to speak of Arches before, but it is not fitting for me to discuss him. Not now.
Vale. ¿Dónde está
We
la
can
tumba?
find it in the crypts beneath
Vale,
the
bajo las
old
alcantarillas de la ciudad.
structures. Forgotten as the
Interesante,
city
a por
was
ellas.
farewell.
Vamos, sin pieza, o sea, sin pensar. Vale, es desde aquí, de acuerdo, de acuerdo. Vamos a ir quitándonos de encima alguna misión secundaria. Esta es la principal. Urracas, esto está en la alcantarilla, así que de momento ahí se va a tener que quedar, igual que esto. Y la obra de amor. Vale. Vale, y Polizonte. Vale, vale, esta es la única creo que podemos hacer. ¿Quién es esta persona? Un momento. ¿Hay alguien ahí que nos puede dar una misión? Vamos a ver qué es. Por ahí está. Vale, es que hay algo... Ah, no, aquella no. Vale. Temistoclea.
Ah, the famed beckoned comes to me at last. Admittedly, my request might be the smallest you will hear, but I wish to voice it nonetheless.
A ver,
I
Arques.
do not forget Arches, or what he did for my people. He led us here and started this city, but most cannot see past his flaws. How do you
Aidila.
find our city, Beckoned? Grand, is it not? It is the great island of progress, but even it cannot forget the world it left below. All the rocks you see, here and in the sewers, once rested in the teeth of Naros. This is a
Residencia.
place for those who are weary of their burdens. If you feel so, you can rest for a while. I'm just one
Temistoclea.
who's intent on maintaining the cultural integrity of her people. We were once no nobler than the Jotun or the Etin. Some would purge this history, but then how will we remember it?
¿Qué
To
necesitas?
preserve the past. All around us is the great chisel and hammer of progress, keen on dragging my people towards enlightenment. But such progress means nothing without context. I wish for someone who can find artifacts of my ancestors, reminders of our simpler times.
Conseguiré los artefactos.
I'll reward you for any artifacts you can find, but larger artifacts will do well for both of us. I await your findings.
Muy bien, artefactos.
They are little things, of no intrinsic value. But as my people are so convinced to make progress, these artifacts are the few records of who we once were.
Muy bien. ¿Dónde puedo
They are
encontrarlos?
strewn throughout the teeth of Naros. They may be hidden in
Oh,
forgotten
interesante.
corners.
Bueno,
or
pues
kept
ya iremos
in research.
encontrando. A ver, ¿qué más hay por aquí? Consigue tótems. Muy bien. Bueno, eso me da igual. A ver, un momento. Tenemos que encontrar a la mujer de Pacetor, así que vamos a intentar ir lo más rápido posible. Vamos a ir hacia allí. Tenemos que ir a la derecha. Muy bien. Y a ver, no sé si esta misión la podremos terminar o es la típica interminable. No lo sé, ya lo veremos. Pero bueno, vamos avanzando poco a poco. Esto, señores, está cada vez más finiquitado, A esto le queda muy poco ya. A ver. Vale, cuidado, que me hacen eso los cerdos. Bien. A ver, cerdito. A ver, cerdote, cerdote. Que yo también sé dar patadas, Que yo también sé dar patadas. A ver, mira, tótem del merodeador. De merodeador, vale, pues esto es lo que necesitamos. Y tiene pinta de que sí. De que va a ser esto interminable, Esta misión tiene pinta de que es la típica que no acaba nunca. Pero bueno. Mirad, ahí hay alguien con misión. Habrá que hablar con esa persona también. Vale, primero voy a hacer esto. Porque si no, a lo mejor no acabamos ni el año que viene. Tío, deja de moverte, cerdo. Vale. Por pintamonas. A ver, cuidado que aquí hay alguien, Aquí hay alguien. Vale, accione o yo qué sé.
You must be the one I've been hearing so much talk about. The one that has been beckoned by Athene. You are truly someone special. Special enough that perhaps you could help me with a task that has been of great. I have always known that in our darkest times, the gods would send the beckoned. Now that you are, I am a loyal follower of Secandra and the Colossi Guard. If you walk safely in these lands, it is thanks to us. This small shrine acts as a conduit of the gods' power. It uses only small portions of this power, but if we could get it activated, this place is crawling with vicious beasts beckoned. But more dangerous are the marauders. The city is strong and beautiful. I hope it is the first of many other great colossi works. We came to this land years ago, and yet we are still strangers here. We are strong, and we are loved by the gods. But I cannot shake this feeling that, despite our virtues, we are not strong enough for this land.
Claro que lo sois, hombre. Merodeadores.
They were colossi, but they gave up completely on the gods. They have reverted to barbarism now, and kill any they find.
¿Cómo puedo ayudar?
I seek to restore this shrine, so that the patrols of the Teeth of Naros can take use of it. The shrine carries the blessings of the gods, relaying them to special litanies. However, the magics of the shrine, but it can be repaired. With 5 of these litanies, the magics of the shrine can be restored.
¿Cómo decías que funcionaba esto?
The shrine is a conduit of the gods' blessings, from healing magics to invulnerability. But the blessings of this shrine could be relayed to special litanies, so that the magics could be enjoyed from anywhere. The shrine has lost its magic.
Vale, 5 letanías. Encontraré las letanías.
Friend. I would search myself, but I would need 5. Yes, 5 litanies should hold enough magic to restore the altar to working condition. Gather them.
¿Dónde están?
They are scattered throughout the Teeth of Naros.
Vale, si busco bien encontraré. Vale, pues ya tengo bastantes, A ver si me deja el juego bajar. Letanía, letanía. Tenemos 4, señores. Nos falta una. Sí, señor. ¿Qué? Somos unos malditos genios. Vale, por aquí, según el mapa, nada más, ¿no? Vale, pues vamos al círculo amarillo. E inspeccionar la estatua. Esta estatua de una mujer colosal parece estar inacabada. En la mitad inferior tiene la siguiente firma: Pacetor. Oh. Hay que volver, ¿no? Regresa con Pacetor. Templo del Hiperiano. Vale, pues para allá que vamos. Bueno, se ha hecho de día. ¿Dónde estará Pacetor? Gistis. Un momento. ¿Qué cojones? No, vamos a ir para allí. Pero ahora para volver a la ciudad. A ver cómo lo hago, tío. A ver. Gistis.
Who wanders into my camp? What is this? You are far too small to be a colossi. So it's true then. The beckoned has come.
Dientes de
Most
nada.
find it completely inhospitable, but I find that it is not so difficult if you try a different sort of living. Yes, the plants are unpalatable, and the beasts cunning, but you can't expect nature to offer you wine and sweets if all you do is ask.
Gistis.
I once tried to forge peace between the Jotun and the Colossi, but as I did, I became enamored of... I have taken to living in this old camp to try and enjoy it as I can. The heads of the city's inhabitants are as high in the clouds as the city itself. With their talk of religion and righteous gods, I much prefer to stay closer to the ground and stick to my roots.
Muy bien.
The Jotun have wronged the Colossi in the past, but the Colossi have a shared history with them. It was right to grant them mercy.
Colossae.
The Jotun have wronged the Colossi. They act like they are above everything, but they are mud and dust. Like everything else in this world, they just aren't decent enough to admit it.
¿Vives en un
This is
campamento
my
Jotun?
home, but not for much longer. I moved out here to reconnect with my roots, you see. My heritage as a giant race. However, my time on my own has come to an end. I am ready to take the next step and go and live amongst the Jotun of the Teeth of Naros. There are only loose ends that need to be taken care of, but I have sworn off Idylla for all days I have left.
¿Quieres vivir con los
Karank was
Jotun?
my chief concern with me trying to move in with the Jotun. Now that he is dead, it seems to be the perfect time to do this. The logical step is that I must live among the Jotun. Yes, I do. I have lived on my own in this abandoned Jotun camp long enough.
Vale, en el anterior vídeo acabamos con Karunk, el dueño, el jefe de los Jotun. Y supongo que esto se activa tras hacer aquello.
I will reward you for your help. I will not be needing the coin where I am going. I want for my family ring, currently in the hands of my brother Heliodorus, and to see my journal delivered to my old comrade Darius. But perhaps most of all, I want you to find my wife, Corina. I would like you to bring her here to me.
Vale, ¿qué es lo que
You
tenía
must
que hacer?
retrieve my family ring. Deliver my journal.
Vale, diario de
and speak
Gistis.
with my
¿Cómo
wife.
consigo el anillo?
The ring is currently in the possession of my rather odious brother Heliodorus in Idylla. I doubt he will surrender it kindly. He hides it in the living quarters of Idylla. You can try liberating the ring yourself, or finding a way of dealing with my
Vale,
brother.
¿qué le digo a Corina?
Convince Corina to come down from the city and see me. If you could bring her here, then I can talk her into living with me and the Jotun.
¿A dónde llevo
My
el diario?
journal needs to be delivered to my friend Darius. He is most likely camped out somewhere in the teeth of Naros.
Vale,
Be
vale, gracias.
quick, Beckoned. There's not really enough...
Vale, vamos a mirar primero el tema del diario. A ver dónde coño está. Diario de Gistis. No sé exactamente dónde andará. Diario de Gistis. Míralo. Bueno, lo dejo ahí por si alguien lo quiere leer. Bueno, pues hay cositas que hacer. Lo primero, ¿por qué hay cofres aquí? Estos ya los abrimos, pero al parecer... Coge, coño. Quita. Esto se va... Va respaneando, como se diga. Como que se resetean los cofres. No sé. No sé si es un bug, pero bueno, la cuestión es que ocurre. Ya que estamos, pues los comprobamos. A ver, llevamos 20 minutos. Y me gustaría encontrar al cerdo ese. Tenemos que ir a Idila. Pero ¿cómo coño llegaba, tío? Es que no me deja. Templo... O sea, creo que tengo que hacerlo manualmente. No puedo ir... Y es lo que no entiendo, tío. O sea... La lógica... No sé dónde está. O sea, para llegar hasta la ciudad tenemos que estar haciendo esto. Bueno, vamos a ver si puedo regresar con Pácetos rápidamente. Y ya está. Vale, bien. Me gustaría hacer las misiones secundarias. Y quizá hoy pues vayamos a... ¿Dónde está? Vale, está por ahí. En algún momento quizá pisemos las alcantarillas. No lo sé. Corre, coño, no te quedes parado, tío. No sé por qué coño se queda parado. Vale, Pácetor está por aquí. No, míralo. No, no te vayas.
How goes the search for my Galatea? Any news of her yet?
Encontré una estatua incompleta.
And how was it? Was it unharmed?
¿Qué era esa estatua?
There are many statues.
Hemos fallado, tío. ¿Qué dices, joder?
What is special about this one?
Llevaba tu firma.
Found her.
Venga, jódete.
Galatea.
Con cariño.
What I have left of her. In truth, my wife died, beckoned, at the hands of a troll years before. I carved that statue to honor her memory, and every passing year I would work further on it, bringing it as close to her likeness as I could. But that ritual was robbed from me. I must have closure. Please, beckon, find her killer, the troll called Kern. Bring him to justice.
Sí, Galatea.
Her wife was killed by a troll down in the warren. All I have left to remember her by is a statue I began carving for her down. But as I am forbidden to leave the city, the only comfort I have is knowing the statue. Go back to the warren and search for him there. That is where he ambushed my wife and me years before. On your way now.
Vale, pues hay que ir a por el cerdo este. ¡Kurn! ¿Dónde coño estará Kurn? Míralo. Pues vamos para allí, señores. Ese troll va a palmar. Por mis cojones. Vamos a quitarle alguna misión secundaria. Uy, cuidado. Vale, aquí hay un cofre. Bueno, ¿es mi turno o no es mi turno? Vuestra puñetera madre. Ven. ¿Ahora qué, cerdos? ¿Ahora qué? ¡Pintamonas! ¿Ahora qué? Joder. Vale. Tótems. Vamos a coger todos los tótems que podamos. Vale, desde aquí también podemos llegar. Ah, no, a Nerotelos. Sí, nada. Creía que eran las alcantarillas, no sé por qué. Vale, se supone que está por aquí. Vamos a ver. ¡Kurn! Ven aquí, amigo. Vamos a darte un saludito. Bien. Bien. Casi me das. Pintamona, qué malo eres. Dedícate a otra cosa. Que esto no es lo tuyo, Kurn. Bien. Cuidado. Madre mía, qué paliza, tío. Bien. Vale, vamos a intentar ponernos ya esto. Se acabó. Lo siento, Kurt. Lo siento, chaval. Vale, por aquí hay cofres. No tiene nada, por supuesto que no. ¿Qué cojones va a tener? Es una tontería. Regresa con Pacetor. Es que eso del templo del Hiperiano, ¿qué coño es? O sea, no me acuerdo. Pero desde aquí a dónde llegaba yo. Ah, ya, sí. Bueno, vamos a tener que... Cada vez que queramos ir a Idila tendremos que hacerlo desde aquí. No está excesivamente lejos, pero yo creo que lo ideal habría sido poder hacer un viaje rápido directamente hasta Idila. No sé por qué... No se puede. Un poco raro. Pero bueno. Nos quitamos ya esta misión de encima. Venga, va. Se hace de noche rápido, es mi sensación. A ver, me pica la espalda, bien, ya está. A ver, coño. Vale, está justamente ahí también. Ya estáis viendo, es que la ciudad es... Yo creo que es la mejor ciudad del juego, porque es que se ve súper genial. Es increíble. A ver.
You have slain Kern. I now have the peace of mind to know that my wife's murderer is no longer around to torment her grave. I cannot thank you enough. I have little of my own, but take these. The gauntlets I wore when I first started carving stone.
Vale, gracias.
I miss her every day. But there is some small comfort in knowing that her death has been avenged.
Sí. A ver, armadura. Manos, guanteletes... ¡Hostia! Si es mejor que el que tengo, tío. Señores, ¡buah! Increíble, ¿no? Pues para mí, madre mía. Vale, contigo ya... Bueno, contigo no se puede hablar. Guardia, nada, caca. Vale, vamos a ver, otra misión secundaria. Tareas, es que ahora hay dos más. Artes perdidas, consigue artefactos colosae, tótems de merodeador. Vale, vamos a entregar estos que tenemos, pero esta es una misión interminable y creo que la otra también. Esas dos que están en tareas, creo que son interminables. Tengo unos tótems para ti. Vale, diría que sí. Que tanto esta como esta, que aún no tenemos, creo, ningún artefacto. Que no sé dónde se tendrán que dejar. Pero bueno, de momento lo haremos una vez solo para que veamos qué dice, pero nada más. De momento se queda ahí. A ver. Pero yo juraría que hay algo más que hacer, pero no sé. Ah, sí, esto. Vale. Vamos a intentar hacer esto y nos lo quitamos de encima también. Mira, Corrina. Vale, voy a guardar. Tenemos que intentar persuadirla. Histis me envía para hablar contigo. No le ha ocurrido nada. Tienes que ir con Histis.
He is as oblivious and idealistic as the day I took him for my husband. Very well, I will see him after straightening out some affairs.
Muy bien, lo hemos conseguido. Vale, siguiente, entregar el diario. ¿Cómo coño? No tengo ni idea de dónde está. Bueno, aquí ya estuvimos. Mercado. Encuentra y mata al polizonte. Vale, esto es alcantarillas. Vamos a ir al Lykeios, que tengo curiosidad. Venga. Vamos a intentar revisar un poco más la ciudad. Lo que queda. Pero claro, no me sale de color amarillo. O sea, tenemos que robar algo o conseguirlo pidiéndolo. Si lo conseguimos, que no lo sé. Y entregar otra cosa. Sí, soy yo.
Surely you jest. How could one of that size herald the power of Athene?
It is true. Sakandra has verified firsthand that the creature wields tremendous power.
Power, but not absolute power. Not a confirmation of divinity. We shall see.
Vale. Si estoy aquí, joder.
A
ver, Erus.
I know the healing. I
Eros.
am one of Onesimos' oldest disciples. I have taken to tending to the inexperienced students after their debates.
Onesimos.
The master is troubled.
The Lykeios has seen its attendance gradually drop since the tragedy at the Hyperion. Have you
Teatros.
seen it? The theater is perhaps our greatest rival in capturing the idle time of Idila's citizens. Over the years, I've warmed to the idea of their productions, but there is no substitute for the Lykeios' debates.
Bueno, este nos puede curar. Está bien. A ver por aquí qué hay. Mira, eso es una entrada a las alcantarillas también. Fine. A ver.
Beckoned, I admit that I have eyed you with some interest. I await for the chance to debate you personally. The
Aidila.
Colossi believe that ours is the greatest city in all of Amalur, Beckoned. I am inclined to agree. We were strong enough to rip it from the clutches of the earth. How could there be any doubt?
Colossi.
No doubt the gods favor us because we had the strength to perpetuate their message. This is the
Lykeios.
center of theology in Idilla, Beckoned. My people attend to debate any topic they like. We leave social standing at the door. All that matters in the Lykeios is virtue and a sound argument. I am a
Fine.
student of Master Onisimos, and I hold the highest rank among all of his disciples. My current point of study is the nature of strength and its relation to virtue.
Muy
I
bien.
wish you luck in
Pues
your
ya
endeavors,
debatiremos
Beckoned.
cuando el juego quiera. Thais. ¿Dónde estáis?
Beckoned. Do you seek to debate? You should speak
Sí.
to We would be thrilled to hear a lecture given by the Beckoned.
Y Aidila.
The city? It is... well, it is grand, as everyone says. I wish I could say more of it, but I spend most of my time in the Lykeios. Though the Lykeios is open to all who wish to debate, some choose to spend their lives mastering the arguments. I hope it will make me a stronger Colossi. I
Thais.
am... the youngest of Onisimos' students. There is much I have... Goodbye.
Tienes mucho que aprender. Todos tenemos.
I wish you well.
Historia Colossae. Muy bien. El alzamiento de Aidila. Muy bien. Qué bonito, qué bonito. Bueno, ahí lo dejo. Hago el cofre, Vale, esto no se considera robo. Tío, quita, hostia.
You are the Beckoned.
Este es Erus, con este ya hemos hablado. Mallas, cetro y grebas prismáticas. Casi nunca reviso nada ya. Vale, pues por aquí hay gente, A ver, no te choques con cosas invisibles. Tío, que subas. Sube, coño. Vale, Narus.
So the Beckoned has arrived. Are you here for a debate? I have an
Narus.
astute interest in researching the Terex. They are noble, lethal beasts. They can match a colossi in might. The life of a god is always busy in these lands. Take it from me. The city
Aidila.
is grand, though it has borne much doubt and anguish. But I believe the stones we placed can weather these storms. We are
Colossae.
strong, but not immortal. Though our skin resembles stone, mortal blood flows beneath it. The
Lykeios.
Lykeios is the essence of the Colossi. I am glad to see it run by a great thinker such as Onisimos. The scholar truly has mastered the art of discourse. Though it has been years, I believe he can still make a persuasive argument on any topic.
Muy bien,
Enjoy
pues
the
ya hablaremos
Lykeios.
con él. Este es un ciudadano, que le vaya bien. ¿Este quién es? Sistus. Este es el rey de las siestas.
Welcome to the Lykeios, Beckoned. I
Aidila.
remember when this city sat on firm earth instead of thin air. Those were dark times, where daily we grappled with the wilds of the teeth of Naros, but we endured. And now we have carved a near paradise for ourselves among the clouds. No finer city exists. There
Lykeios.
is no greater home, no event, no thought, no prayer is raised that does not get tried and tested in our debates. I am a
Sistus.
student of the masters, and there is no greater joy for me than the debate. I truly love it here. Currently, my studies have me exploring the value of life versus that of the spirit.
Muy bien, chaval. Por cierto, si habéis visto Juego de Tronos, se podría decir que es la montaña, ¿no? Se parece un montón. Hostia, en el traje y en la altura, en la corpulencia, en todo. Bueno, vamos a ver qué hay por aquí. Lleno.
Yes, Beckon. I am pleased to serve how I can. Our city stands the highest in all of Amalur, and that means that it is the great. It is no coincidence that our culture and virtue have flourished up. It is built to honor the struggle we all must go through to attain wisdom. And we am I am a relatively new debater, but already I have made my mark. I outrank Face in the Master's eyes. My area of interest is the nature of war. If you
pues estupendo. Espera, vamos a disipar esto. Pum, 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 pum. Vale. A ver.
Ah, you must be the beckoned. I must say that you are the most peculiar specimen I have ever glimpsed. Your fate, I cannot think but I have been blinded, but you are the only flaw in my gaze.
Es que soy muy fuerte. Arques.
I have seen the portents of the future, and the old Primos wears the garb we all will be shrouded in. I have always been able to snatch glimpses of the future, but very recently, since news came that you appeared in our land, these dim half-visions of mine have burst into full glory. I can see the fate of this city now, of all who live within it, except for you, curiously enough. The city will hold longer than this academy, but all things in this world fall to ruin. Every morning I wake and despair, for I see the mighty walls of Idilla and the tower of the Primos crumble to dust before my eyes, replaced by an empty sky.
Lykeios.
I tell you, this academy's destruction is assured. The details are vague to me, but there will come a time when theology means nothing to the Colossi. Academics, scholarly pursuits, all of it gone. In its place, the savagery of the Myru. I attend these final debates as the school enters its death throes to chronicle them for the future.
Bueno, si escucháis algo es que están lanzando fuegos artificiales y petardos, que es la época. Y bueno, pues es por eso. Vale, a ver, el poder demuestra la virtud. Interesante. Lo dejo ahí, por si alguien quiere leerlo. Que disfrute. Y a ver... Onesimos.
What do you think of our humble academy, Cho? Could I perhaps convince you to debate one of my prodigies? Surely the beckoned of Athene would be a worthy lecturer.
Llamado.
Many argue the meaning of the beckoned. Are you a conduit of the gods, or are you merely their messenger? I know what you are, though. You are the strength of the gods incarnate.
Arques.
He did not have the strength needed to appeal to the gods. Though he was named Primos, his virtue faded over time. If anything, this city is great for separating the weak and impious from the... Not all have kept the promises we made to the gods. Some have left our city to live in the wilds, as if they were the Myru. Fools.
Lykeios.
I will admit, times are difficult for the school. Few have the fire within them to debate. They seem to prefer moping. That is what we were before the gods sought to raise us up. Life for the Myru was not as you see here. The Myru cared only for base pleasures, carnage, conquest, and power. They were far from the enlightened people the Colossi are today.
Onesimos.
I am the master of the Lykeios. I do what I can to enlighten the minds of those who enter my academy.
Muy bien, ¿qué es este lugar?
I despair that the Lykeios has passed under the awareness of one so blessed. Our academy is the center of conversation for philosophy and theology in Idilla. Would you be opposed to joining us for a dialogue or two?
Sí.
It would
Estáis
be
todos
the
armados.
spears, you mean? They are for the debate.
Anda, tal vez lo haga.
Wonderful. With the hard times about us, I worry that our long-kept traditions will eventually be lost.
Muy bien, me gusta la idea, chaval.
Your involvement is sure to spark interest in the Lykeios once again. Now, let us begin. In your first debate, you face Theis, one of my most promising students.
Vale, pues a por él.
Study hard.
Me gusta la idea. Vale, tenemos que hablar con Theis, ¿no? Sí, sí, sí. Parece que está por aquí.
Greetings, Beckoned. I take it that Onesimus wishes me to go through with this debate? Very well.
Vengo a debatir.
You are? Then, I will begin. I mean, here is the topic of discussion. A torrential storm sweeps a youngling and a full-grown colossi into the flow of a river. A big one. A river, I mean. Now, there is only time to save one. Which should one choose? To save...
Hombre, muy a mi pesar. Como tengo que elegir... Un momento, salvar hostia, un momento, salvar idiotas de cualquier edad.
Oh, what? I mean,
vale.
Why risk one's own life to spare them when both the child and
o sea, esto iba en el sentido de que, claro, si están en apuros es porque ellos se los ha buscado, por lo tanto son débiles. No, hombre, no. Bueno, da igual. Aquí creo que da igual lo que respondamos, pero yo, si tuviera que elegir, desgraciadamente, elegiría al más joven, claramente, pero... Si tuviera que elegir, si no, no, claro. Bueno, ¿este qué? ¿Dais? Madre mía, está fuerte este tío. Pero yo también, amigo, madre mía. Se acabó. Que soy mucho más fuerte, soy un genio, tío. ¿Qué significa esto?
This is the form all debates take here at the Lykeios. Opening statements are made, and combat determines the victor. I am unsure what else you would expect. That said, will you allow others to challenge you? You appear to be quite skilled.
Sí, estoy preparado para otro debate.
To Sisters, he is eager to debate with you.
Vale, Sistus, ¿me repites qué tengo que hacer? Vale, vamos a hablar con Sistus. Insistus, no insistas, amigo, porque no tienes nada que hacer.
Is it my turn to challenge you, Beckoned? I am eager to test you, and myself.
Venga, va.
I am glad. Tell me, what is the most effective display of strength in the following scenario? On a trip across a vast desert, you and a companion encounter a boulder. It is an airborne boulder, and it crushes your friend. He tells you, "Leave me, Beckoned. Even were you to lift this boulder from off my battered body, I would be but half a colossi. What would the strong do?"
Darle una muerte honorable, mostrar compasión, le aplasto, quito la roca. Quitamos la roca. Sigue siendo de los nuestros, amigo.
You would save him? Beckoned, you fight like a colossi. But you certainly do
claro,
not
porque
think
vosotros
like
vais
one.
de héroes de la vida,
Where would he
de
be
super
with his body
ultrapoderosos. Y
He would
hay
be half a
aspectos en la vida
man,
más
and half a
importantes,
man can
amigo.
never be whole. His friends and family would pity him, shun him.
Claro, pero a lo mejor el medio hombre eres tú por pensar así. ¿Lo entiendes?
I must.
Venga, va. Vamos a darte tu merecido, porque ese pensamiento tan retrógrado a mí no me gusta, amigo. Ven aquí, cerdo. Ven aquí, cerdo. Tú eres el medio hombre aquí. Me estás tocando los huevos y acabamos de empezar. Se acabó. ¿Ahora qué, Sistus? Ahora no me puedes dar. Soy invencible, joder. Venga, va. Joder, qué fácil, tío. Estoy machacando, señores. Estoy machacando. A ver, Onesimos, ven aquí. Ven aquí, que estamos destrozando a nuestros rivales.
An absolutely scintillating debate, Beckoned. Sisters didn't stand a chance. Are you ready for another? Find my disciple Zeno when you are. He wishes to challenge you. Speak to Zeno.
Vale, su inteligencia, ¿me repites? Bueno, voy a darle por si acaso. Mira, aquí está.
You are the Beckoned? I wish to challenge you. Sisters and Theis are worthy opponents. That you have debated them is impressive indeed, especially for one so short.
Vengo a debatir.
You are one of the greatest debaters I have ever seen, Beckoned. I hope I present a worthy challenge.
Vale, a ver, pregunta.
What makes a war worth fighting?
Pues... no, el éxito... o sea, pelear por pelear es de necios. Empezando por eso. Una buena disposición. ¿De cara a quién o a qué? Una causa justa.
That is a suitable response.
Sí, subjetiva. Bueno, todo subjetivo en la vida.
I am of the belief that nothing makes war more worth fighting than a worthy opponent, such as yourself. Prepare yourself.
¿Ves? Pelear por pelear. Es que aquí son así. Esto es la mitología griega en todo su esplendor. Mira, si no tiene espadas. No necesitas espadas, Xeno. ¿Pero qué dices, tío? ¿Has visto lo que te está ocurriendo por no tener una lanza o una espada? Madre mía, destrozo magistral. Bueno, pues nada, el siguiente, por favor. Supongo que si ahora hablo con este, me dirá algo. Un momento, curiosidad, ya que estamos.
You are a powerful debater, as expected of the beckoned, I suppose.
Sí, gracias, gracias. ¿Y este qué? ¿Dice algo, Sistus?
It would appear that my long hours of study have been beneficial. When I thank you for the debate beckoned, I pray.
Nada, hombre, para eso estamos, joder. Somos buena gente todos. A ver, venga. Siguiente.
Zeno's argument was hastily prepared drivel next to your well-dressed Fine, an older disciple, wishes to debate with you.
Vale.
Speak to Fine. She is my oldest disciple, very powerful and wise, a true challenge. Speak to Fine. She is eager.
Bueno, a ver, Fine. ¿Dónde estabas? Fine define la derrota. Señores, el juego de palabras había que hacerlo. No te vayas, Fine.
You've defeated many of Master Onisimos' students, Beckoned. I am the oldest, the most powerful. Prepare yourself to face the Master's most gifted student.
Vale, vengo a debatir.
Excellent. You've done well thus far, but
a ver, pregunta.
Might make right?
No. Desde luego, ni de coña. Poder y moral no tienen relación. Hombre, sí tienen, si se sabe utilizar el poder. La razón lleva al poder. Claro, pero eso es de alguien obsesionado con la razón y con el propio poder. No me gusta ninguna, ¿eh? Bueno, sí, la tercera... es que la tercera tampoco realmente. Pero es, yo creo que lo que más se acerca a la realidad, porque la gente con poder no suele tener relación con la moral, realmente. ¿Para qué vamos a mentir? Sí, todo es contrario a lo vuestro, ya lo sé, sois muy especiales.
Let us debate the issue. My virtue shall prove that. Prepare yourself.
Venga, va, demuestra que me equivoco. Demuéstramelo con un puñetazo. Mira, sale de color rosa, cuidado. Debe ser importante. Vale, asalto implacable, esto ya. Pero ya está, se me he quitado media vida ya. Pero por el amor de Dios, que reviente y destrozos. ¡Hostia! ¿Qué ha pasado ahí? ¡Madre mía! Se ha chocado con mi aura. Bueno, pues nada. Onesinos, ¿qué pasa, amiguito?
Beckoned, welcome back. Have you been enjoying your debates?
Claro, tío, he derrotado a todos tus discípulos.
You have defeated all of my students, Beckoned. The issue I pose to you is this, brought to my mind by your overwhelming strength. Can those with absolute power, such as yourself, have courage? If one enters battle with victory all but assured,
claro, ¿por qué no? Si no lo intentas, no sabes si realmente eres capaz de seguir tu camino victorioso, valeroso y glorioso. ¿Me estás llamando cobarde? Yo diría que tienes envidia. Yo estoy de acuerdo con la primera opción, pero voy a darle a la segunda. ¿Me estás llamando cobarde?
I would never dream of it. You are the Beckoned. Shall we begin the prepare?
Sí, venga, va. Ahora habrá que pelear con él. Señores, aquí podemos definir la victoria o la derrota. No puedo ponerme el asalto implacable, no puedo. Vale, esto se va a complicar, un poco. Cuidado, este saca bastante vida, este cerdo, cuidado. Lo Lo siento, chaval. Onesimos, no puedes conmigo. No sabes debatir, Onesimos. Están tus discípulos viendo cómo te derroto. Lo siento, chaval. Pues ya está.
You have my underlying gratitude
Logos.
for participating in our competitions. Please take this as a token of my word of your scintillating lectures is sure to bring attention to our school. Already there are more spectators in the Lykeios. Your thoughts guard you well in combat. May this talisman offer you similar protection. Though we were all taught sound lessons, my students and I have never seen this many in the Lykeios. Truly, you have helped us.
Me alegro muchísimo. Para eso estamos, para ayudar. Siempre para ayudar. Vale, primero vamos a ver qué es esto. Logos. Tiene que estar por ahí. Logos. Tío, que no me ha dado nada este tío. Señores, el Logos ese ha desaparecido. Me estás jodiendo, juego. Señores, de verdad, ¿qué hago, tío? No está... No será... Ah, talismán, a lo mejor. Sí, correcto. Claro, es un talismán, joder. Jesucristo. Vale, pues estupendo. Vale, aprender a golpes. Esta misión me ha encantado, Esta misión me ha gustado mucho. Vale, Fine, ¿dónde está? Quiero hablar con ella para ver qué opina.
Greeting. You have fought very well, Beckend.
Muy bien, me alegro que aprendas. Pues ya está. ¿Tú dices algo? Un momento. Onesimos. Nada, para eso estamos, para ayudar, como siempre digo. Vale, pues nada, vamos a ver qué otra cosa hacemos. Llevamos casi 52 minutos ya. De vuelta a lo básico. Esto aún no sé dónde coño está. Vale. Debería recuperar, a ver si me deja leer esto. Heliodorus, vale, ese está en alguna parte. Vale. Heliodorus. No tengo ni puñetera idea de dónde está este tío. Vale, tenemos que entrar a las alcantarillas. En algún momento lo haremos, pero no lo vamos a hacer hoy, ya lo haremos en el siguiente. Heliodorus. No tengo ni... No, de verdad. Vamos a entrar a algún sitio. Santuario del Primos, ahí ya hemos estado, creo. Teatro de Andronicos, vamos a mirar ahí. Creo que ahí no hemos estado. Por lo menos para ir, pues, avanzando. Teatro de Andronicos. Tiene que ser guapo esto. La verdad es que este lugar es increíble. Sinceramente, increíble. Espectacular. Todo. O sea, este lugar es una pasada. Mira, al cae. Sí, yo no te molesto, no te preocupes.
Are you hoping to attend a performance?
I
am the custodian of the theatre. Stratton concerns himself with the art, and I, the material. And I handle the audience as well. If they are rude, I eject them with impunity.
Muy bien, Colosae.
The story of my people is the stuff of great theatre, in a way. From humble beginnings, we're to ascend to the highest station in Amalur. The master is the playwright who runs the theatre and uses it to house his productions. With just a few tragedians and a manuscript, he is quite capable of rendering any historical scene in exquisite detail and vibrancy. He gains influence daily, and I am certain his is the mind that will lead the Colossi into a new age of enlightenment. It is a popular locale for many, and we gain more followers every day. Master Stratton's plays invoke the imagination and spirit of the Colossi such that few can resist.
Muy bien, joder, muy bien. Estoy orgulloso de vosotros. A ver.
I've heard. It's his opus, or so he said. I wouldn't blame him for being careful with it. Now would be an ill time to release his most cherished work, anyhow.
Because of the unhappy state of the city? That's reasonable, I guess. But every play of Stratton's is his opus, or so he would have us believe.
Have faith in me. I'm familiar with Stratton's tendencies. Another day in this forsaken land.
Condenada tierra. Manifiesto comercial. ¿Esto qué es? Nah. Esto lo hemos visto alguna vez, pero no se puede leer. A ver, Zoticus.
Many are waiting in anticipation for Stratton's work, but he insists the work will not be ready until a grand fit of inspiration comes. I am not blind to the fact that our city has a troubled past. There is little we tragedians can do about it save continue to perform for our audiences. This is as much a temple as a theater, erected in the honor of the craft. There is no greater celebration of plays in all of Amalur. I have a sprawling range as a tragedian, I assure you, but I require the chance to prove it. Perhaps the humbled is my great opportunity.
Bueno. Cada uno interpreta una obra, su papel. Vale, ahí está Stratton. Este debe ser el más importante de aquí. A ver, Areope.
I hope you find the city to your liking, Beckend.
Areope.
I am a tragedian of several years. I have often been cast as the villain, and I'm rather ashamed to find myself comfortable in such a role. Of course, you must exercise all of yourself to attain true strength. I long to try other roles, but I am unsure where to start. Stratton loves this place. I think he has some qualms with living up to his forebearer, Andronikos, but he still tries. While these halls are to serve as a home for all forms of the art of stage, there are a few of us that devote ourselves to the art. Mostly just the ones you see milling around here listlessly. You honor us with your presence.
Alcantarillas, desde aquí también se llega. Vale, un momento. Disertación sobre el oponente. Bueno. A ver, baja poco a poco. Si alguien lo quiere leer. Sobre timos. Bueno, deben ser guiones, no lo sé. A ver, Rode, chakrams primarios. Suena bien eso. Vale, levanta, Rode.
I have not acted in some time. I'm eager to know when my next performance is. It's a great accomplishment, to be sure. But I think that my people often forget that we are the project of the gods. That is why I focus on theater. Rather than focusing on the city, we should be focused. I will not lie. Earlier in my career, I played the Beckend, though I believe I took the role in a different direction. In truth, I find the tragedies we've made recently to be rather dreary. The Humbled seems an interesting production. There is an opportunity for me as the goddess of wisdom, but she is also a goddess of art. We must appease this aspect of her nature as it does not involve true might. The profundity of theater is lost on my brethren. But the spectacle is still enjoyed. Enjoy your slave.
A ver, que hay un cofre. Vale, pues vamos a hablar con Stratton y lo vamos a dejar por hoy. Hemos probado a ver si tiene algo. Nada más. Sí, la acabarás. Confía en ti, Andronikos.
I apprenticed as a tragedian under Andronikos. I sharpened his quills, blotted his parchment. Here I am today. I had written a piece for him, The Unanswered. Unfinished, but unplayable. It was too bitter. The greatest subject for my work I cannot think of. How intricate my people are, with their vulnerabilities. I was a tragedian before I became the master playwright I am today, studying under Andronikos himself. No one knows more than I do about literature and colossi theatre, except perhaps for Master Andronikos, but he is, unfortunately, no longer with us. I despair that he will never see the production. Despite all I have accomplished, I feel that I'm still working to crawl out from under his shadow.
Su nueva obra, Los Humillados, Teatro de Andronikos.
The establishment you see here is the Theatre of Andronikos. We tragedians and our loyal audience are the cultural center of Idylla. Questions of ethics, morals, and cultivation are explored through the metaphor of my plays. Entire world.
Muy bien, señores, pues yo creo que lo voy a ir dejando por hoy. Y ya seguiremos en el siguiente vídeo. Lo voy a dejar delante de la entrada de este lugar. 1 hora y suficiente por hoy. Así que yo no me enrollo más. Disfrutad de vuestros días, pero recordad sobre todo de vuestras noches. ¡Hasta la próxima!